It's Friday again. Welcome, welcome. My name is Engracia ESleeswijk, and I'm a life redesign coach, as I call it myself. And the focus of that is that I help people to rebuild their life the way they want to. And that's what the topic of today is. I'm from the Netherlands. The topic of today is mental slavery, emancipate yourself. Now, these words are a bit copied from a song that I hold dear, and that's the song of Bob Marley, and it's called Redemption Song. And it says, um, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. These are powerful words, and people think that when you are in an abusive relationship, that is mental slavery. But do you do you know that many people who are not in abusive relationships are living their lives according to other people's values, other people's wishes, and other people's dreams? That is the core essence of mental slavery. Mental slavery is something that is also almost like a taboo, you know, because it shows that someone has power over someone else. And that is like a scary thing. I would find it a scary thing since I'm a rebel at heart. But it does creep in a very subtle way, you know, into relationships. When you're a young adult, you try to make friends, you try to hang out with the crowd. And to hang out, you have to live and pretend and profile yourself, high view, to their standards, because that's what's hip, that's what the culture is. Now, this behavior of a young adult creeps in when you're an adult and you're a professional. When you're a professional, you're trying to, hang with the professionals, and they do as they do. Have you ever seen movies back in the 90s of how ridiculous we looked with our big phones, and the suitcases, and everybody was feeling hip, and now we laugh because we can do our business at home, in a t-shirt, or if you feel like dressing up, you dress up. But basically, these days, it's about the message. It's not about, appearance. So I used to laugh about things like that because we adapt to things that not is not our core beliefs. You know, I don't know about you, but the best day of business is the day that I can wear my jogging suit and basically, do my thing. So mental slavery creeps in on us. And it's typified by the fear of loss, the fear of loss of love, the fear of loss of approval, the fear of holding yourself to a standard which that is in your mind, but basically shouldn't be because you have copied it from somebody else. Now think about this. Let's say you make a cake and the cake form has a dent, right? Now, every cake you will bake in there will have that same dent. And that's the problem with copying other people's thinking and behaviors and mannerisms, because you copy their dent and you don't know that the dent that you have copied a dent. So therefore, when you have problems, you will notice that you have problems that you never thought about. You cannot anticipate about of on them because you have copied something of somebody else who maybe knows how to deal with it or simply doesn't care. Sometimes it's that. Well, that will put you in a predicament because that means that when you go to the workplace or you do business, you will behave in a certain way that is not authentic. And that is the downside of um, um, mental slavery. When you're not authentic, people know it, they smell it, they feel it. For some reason, your business is not running, it's not coming up because for some reason you're not able to show people the real you. Now, think about this. I'm not talking about the generation who keeps it real, okay? And because keeping it real will sometimes keep you broke. Not everything is to be said, not everything is to discussed. And sometimes you have to keep the etiquette. And that means that you have to be aware of your surroundings. And then you have to know that if you enter a room, you just enter the room and wait and feel the vibe, right? So it's like very it's a norm. It's a quality norm. You have to set to your standard, and the quality norm is that you have the basic God-given ground rule that they call arrogance these days is that you emancipate yourself. And that means that you use what you have been given from birth. And that is a free mind, free of speech, free of thinking, the freedom to do the things you want to do in your way, right? So if you are hanging on to someone or a group or whoever, and you feel that you have to change that to fit in, please don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. Keep your emancipation, the freedom to think, the freedom to do, and the freedom to speak the way you want to in a surroundings, and I say in a respective way, but still hold your grounds, right? So it's important to realize that people will always try to get into your head. Why? Because we're people who are driven, most of the people are driven by fear. And fear is a negative energy because what it does, it puts you in bondage. And this bondage will show up when you have to speak up, when you don't speak up, when you have to speak up, when you have to say no and you say yes, when you have to um, um, set your boundaries and you fail to do it, and then stay up all night. Have you ever had those nights that you stay up all night thinking about what you should have said? No. So that means that before you, one of the ways to make use of your boundaries, mental freedom, is by putting down the rules of what mental freedom is for you. Basically, it comes down again to the three: the freedom to think for yourself, the freedom to live your life the way you want, and the freedom to say what you want to say when you want to say it, right? Everything within the borders of etiquette and respect, but you still have the freedom. So if it's a parent, remember there is this holy bond between you and a parent. And what happens is that because of their love and because of everything they did for you, you become bound to their opinion, right? And basically, when you're 5, 6, you adore your parents. I know I did, right? Because my mom was the baddest on the planet, right? So after that, you almost adapt to this behavior of fitting in, trying to fit in, trying to get confirmation for the things you did good. And what was good when they thought it was good. But we're not 5 anymore. We're not young adults anymore. We're grown as women. Yes, I said it. We're grown as women. And that means that a woman is setting the standard for the next generation. Because believe it or not, all the people around you, all the women around you, the young adults, the older women, are looking at you and you are putting the norm. and they will rise up to the norm and say, okay, today is today. I'm not taking this crap no more. Okay. So you have a responsibility to make use of this freedom. So if you say you want to be a leader, if you say you want to be the best in your craft, you want to be the best in your field, you have the responsibility to set the standard, and the standard is mental freedom. That means you show yourself, hi Rose, you show yourself the way you want to be profiled. You don't, hey Danielle, you don't, never, ever, ever, ever take other people's mannerisms over because you are a newbie. No, you come, my girlfriend, my sister, my grown ass woman. You come with baggage, and that baggage you got from birth. And that is what the experience of mental freedom is. It was given to you by birth. It's not something you had to apply for. You didn't have to talk to the committee, and nobody had to approve it. Now that's like a great feeling. Now me myself, I make use of my mental freedom. That means I say whatever I want to say, I do whatever I want to do, and absolutely I don't need the respect of people who disagree, and I'm not trying to get it too. Mental freedom sets the standard, and if you want to build on the mental freedom, you have to lose yourself, free yourself from the permission bondage. The permission bondage is the bondage where you wait and see, and that will hinder your progress, because every time when you do something, maybe in freedom, you go back to your little cell and wait for people to approve. No, 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 no. Oh, I have some sun coming up. No, you don't do that. What we do is we send it out in that free spirited way. And about that, in that way, we send it out to the world. Believe me, sisters, it will be catched on. People in the same mind space of you will gravitate to you, and they will make sure that they send out the message, right? These days we have Instagram, these days we have the internet, we have social media to transport our messages even faster. But you know what transport more? Authenticity. It is your birthright to be authentic. Talk higher, live higher, be higher. Don't ever, ever crumble because of the standards of somebody else, right? We are free. And you showed that. You showed that strength before. You showed that boss move before. Now I don't have kids. And there is a reason for that. It was um, uh, um, uh, a decision I made from as being a young child. But I know that there is a point where at birth, when a woman is giving birth, there is a point where she is in total control. Why? The doctor can say push, the doctor can say do this, or the nurse can say do that. Your partners can maybe kiss you on the head. I wouldn't like that at that moment, but hey, that's me. But at a certain moment, this woman, under high pressure, makes the decision, no, this child that I carried and cared for 9 months, this child will live. And I'm the only one who can work with God and make it happen. And by God, they make it happen. And do you know, even though the life, the circumstances are not always perfect, a 13-year old girl makes it happen, and a 50-year-old girl makes it happen. See, so because it's in us, we know what to do. We know how to do things. We know how to boss it up, as the youth says. But that is the real boss, to think and be free, not waiting for permission, but going after the things you want and write them down and implement them in freedom, mental freedom. So that means if something comes back and it's not given the big grandiose result, know that the people that are in the same mind space as you, they will pick it up. They will build on what you have to do. Now, another thing that you have to realize is that this is not a rehearsal, this life of yours. So I don't know if you think that there's another class coming when you die. I don't know. I don't know for sure. But this one, this one is for you. This life is yours and it has been given to you, right? So as a respective receiver of gifts, you have to realize that um, Melina, I'll get back to you. I will give you a message because Melina, you're at the crossroad. You are at a crossroad, and this message is for you, right? You have everything you need to take that decision. And baby, you have taken that decision long time ago. You did. Now we're down to the execution of things, Melina. We have to execute everything you have in that little head of yours. It's the truth. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. Don't look at the circumstances. You have to build on what you have to what you see, what you know, build on it, work on it, right? And take that decision. Take that decision, right? Because unless you take that decision, it's like being in a cell, the door is open, and you don't take that step, that magical first step towards being alive, towards living life the way you want to, because you are free, right? I will say life is difficult, life is hard. And sometimes without us even knowing, we get into that cell, that mental cell about of doing the right things for the people we love or doing the things we have to build on. This is your life. Now, although I respect everybody who takes care of their family, takes care of their loved ones. This is not the reason why you came to Earth, girlfriend. No, you came to set the standard because the standard was set before you. You've watched, we all did. We watched the women in front of us, right? The women we watched, we looked at their mannerisms, we looked at the things they said. Make sure you're there, Tara, you're there. You are freeing yourself. Yes, it is about your life. Free yourself from mental slavery. We've watched these women, and history shows us that during all these difficult times, it was the were the women who were able to translate all these difficult things the men were doing and all the circumstances they were created. And let me put a disclaimer here. I'm not a man hater, okay? No, love them. But I'm my own woman. And these women in the past, in at least in my history, in the history, there always were women working on things, right? Now I'm watching them like a hawk because they set the standard. They know that this is not a rehearsal. They know when they have to come in action. You know, they know what to do, what to say to a certain group of people to activate that mental freedom, the freedom to believe and do everything you want. This mental freedom is yours. You have to take that decision. And yes, the downside of it is that circumstances will change after you spoke your mind. But you have to. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to make sure that your speech the way you behave, the way you set things out as a professional, as a mother, as a sister, as whoever you are, the way you put your feet into this ground, into the world, is the way you set the standard, right? When we see women walk, when we see women drive on, when we see, women doing their stuff, it gives us, sends us this silent message. Oh, baby, we can. Oh, yes, yes. Look at mama. She is doing it, right? And that's why I don't understand why, when we talk about girl power, we try to torpedo one another. Do you know why? I'm gonna say it today, and everybody can log off and say goodbye. I'm gonna because it is fear that when we look at that other woman and we see that she is doing it, we forget that maybe she had to muster up that courage for just that moment, right? Just that moment. Thus, just that powerful moment to blow up and shine. Just that moment, mama. So don't take your whole life and torpedo her because she had to muster up that courage. She had to build on what is, what she believed, and she worked up herself. And then she went and she did it. She did it. So when you see other women, the only thing I want you to do, the only thing I want you to do, look her in the eye and give her a wink, because that's the sign of power, girls. That's the sign of power. Give her a wink and let her know, you got this, mama. You got this. You got it. You can do this. You are the norm. You are the norm. And I needed to see you today because you are the norm. Give her a wink. Let her know, girl, you got it. Don't use your time undermining other women. It's not going to bring you anything. Use your mental freedom. Use the state that you have in that special place when you make that decision. Don't think about what you're going to do tomorrow. Go to your board and write down what you're going to do. Well, some people call it having the spirit. I don't know. I'm not educated like that, so I don't know. But I do know that there is a certain energy when you make a decision. It's like, you know, something is confirming that yes, this is the right way to go, right? Like I said, I'm not schooled like that, so I don't know what it is. But guess what? You got it. So go down, write it down, speak it, even when you're alone. And sometimes when you're not alone, just speak it, and speak it like you have, if your circumstances are not that strong and you don't have the way to express yourself verbally, use it in your mind. You got it. 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 That's the only thing you have to say to yourself. You got it. You got it. And no one will know that you're in a holy space, because that's what a decision is. It's a holy space, from one space, maybe a dark space, to a lighter space. But whatever it is, you got it. You are the one who has to make this, have to make that decision. And like the girlfriend I told you about, who worked herself up to go to that interview, to go to that business meeting, she worked herself up for a moment, right? Remember, I'm somebody who talks about not going after the grandiose things. I'm somebody who talks about the moment, this little path, the best next step. That's what I'm talking about. So what you have to do, and what you have to do, is work yourself up for that moment. You got it. You got it. You got it. I can. I can. I can. I can. And if you're in an abusive relationship, you say, I know I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. Don't worry about the circumstances because it is this that will free you for real. It is this that will build up on your courage. I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. Think about this. Your surroundings are not busy with you, they are busy with getting power. And power is like something you will lose if you keep it too long, right? So when they lose their power, mama, that is your moment. You got it. Love you. See you next week. You got it.